You probably know a lot about Bugatti. Maybe that it was founded in 1909 by Ettore Bugatti, or that these days they're known for building ultra high-end supercars. You probably don't know a lot about Rimac, like that it's a 12-year-old electric car maker, or that it even exists. But in early July of 2021, these two incredibly different companies announced that they were merging? Today on Wheelhouse, a Croatian company, a German company, and a French company walk into a business meeting and Bugatti Rimac is born. How the heck did one of the oldest names in car making get bought by a young company better known for making components rather than cars? And does this mean we're about to see Bugatti, the company known for building massive 16-cylinder quad-turbocharged engines, ditch gas-powered vehicles?
Big thanks to Keeps for sponsoring today's video. Well, it's official, my health isn't getting any better, but worse than that, the bank is finally taking away my old Jerry family cabin.
All right, take it away, boys.
So many memories. Gone just like that. You know, it's moments like these that remind us of what it's like to be one of the 2 out of 3 guys to experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time you're 35. It's about losing stuff, Dave. Losing the cabin. Losing my hair. Yes, if only I had used Keeps. Keeps makes hair loss prevention easy by giving you access to real doctors online. Plus, they'll ship you your hair loss medication directly to your door every 3 months. So don't wait and lose those follicles. Start your hair loss prevention from home today by going to keeps.com/wheelhouse50 or click the link in the description to receive 50% off your first order.
Look out!
Time to go, Dave. Faster! Faster, Dave!
If you missed the news originally or you need a refresher, let me borrow a phrase from my good friend James Pumphrey to catch you up to date. Wait, that's up to snuff? I forget. On July 5th, Rimac and Porsche announced that in the fourth quarter of 2021, Bugatti will become jointly owned between the two companies. Volkswagen, which currently owns both Porsche and Bugatti, will transfer 45% of Bugatti shares into Porsche's control. Rimac will control the other 55% of the new company called Bugatti Rimac. So basically, Volkswagen sold half of Bugatti to Rimac and reshuffled the other half under its own corporate umbrella. Except it's not really a sale because no money changed hands? Wait, what? How? Why? To understand these corporate shenanigans, first, we need to learn a little bit of history. Bugatti is simultaneously a legendary badge and one that has never really been a huge commercial success. They first became known for winning on the racetrack way back in the 1930s. Meanwhile, our generation knows Bugatti as a super modern hypercar brand that breaks speed records. The history of Bugatti can basically be broken into 3 chapters. In the early days of Ettore Bugatti, his company became famous for building the Type 35, one of the most successful race cars in history. The Type 35 won over 2,000 races and basically put Bugatti on the map. Wow, that's a lot. Over the next few decades, the company also built huge luxury cars like the Royale, and I do mean huge. One special edition was called the Royale Kellner, and it weighed in at 7,000 pounds. But Ettore Bugatti died in 1947, and the company crumbled. Eventually, it stopped making cars altogether and was sold off as an airplane parts business in 1963. Chapter 2 began in 1987 when Bugatti was reborn, the car company, not the dead guy. Businessman Romano Artioli bought the trademark and revived the company as an Italian builder of high-end sports cars. And in 1991, Artioli's version of the company released the EB110, which broke the Shelby Cobra's 26-year-old record to become the world's most powerful production car at 553 horsepower. The EB110 was one of the coolest supercars of the 90s. It was obviously very fast, with a top speed of over 200 miles per hour, but it was also innovative, incorporating uncommon features for the time like a carbon fiber monocoque chassis and all-wheel drive. Unfortunately though, Bugatti's new owner overextended himself by also trying to acquire Lotus Cars in 1993, which led to him declaring bankruptcy in 1995, and as a result, only 139 EB110s were ever produced. After several years in bankruptcy court, Volkswagen swooped in to buy Bugatti in 1998. and thus began the company's third and most recent chapter. At the time, VW was run by Ferdinand Piëch, who started as the leader of Audi, then became the dictator-like head of the Volkswagen Group for several decades. He was also the grandson of Ferdinand Porsche, which made him automotive royalty. After saving VW from near ruin, Piëch could do pretty much whatever he wanted. And since he loved high-end cars, he brought companies like Rolls-Royce, Lamborghini, and eventually even Porsche itself under the VW umbrella. But when he bought Bugatti, Piëch hoped to put the company, quote, on top of the automotive world. Volkswagen's purchase totally transformed Bugatti. Piëch restored the company to its former home in Molsheim, France, and also built 60 miles of test track in the German forest to try to break speed records, which is exactly what happened. First came the Veyron, which set the world record for fastest production car in 2010 at 267.9 miles per hour. Then in 2019, a Chiron Supersport 300 Plus prototype broke that record and became the first production vehicle to break the 300 mile per hour barrier. However, it doesn't have the production car record. If you want to know which car does, check out this video. So why is a car maker known for massive record-breaking gas engines now in the hands of an electric vehicle company? Well, the first step came when Ferdinand Piëch stepped down in 2015 after losing an internal political battle to his successor as CEO, Martin Winterkorn. I know what you're thinking. Winterkorn sounds like a Korn Christmas album, and I just want to say I agree with you, and I think that should happen. Ooh, wah, ooh, wah. Anyway, without Piëch actively running the show, his favorite hobby brands started to fall out of favor. But he remained a large shareholder in Volkswagen until his death in 2019. That was the next step towards VW moving on from Bugatti. Without the ex-chairman looking over their shoulder, Volkswagen's new leadership finally decided to turn the company completely towards the future. I'm sure the whole emissions scandal helped a little bit too. And even though Bugatti's signature 16-cylinder engines are still setting speed records, eventually gas engines will be technologically outclassed by electrification. And this is where Rimac enters the story. Monte Rimac was only 20 years old when he founded his company in 2009, exactly 100 years after Ettore Bugatti did the same. Rimac the company started as a one-man operation in Rimac the person's garage. After the engine in his 1984 BMW 3 Series blew up, and he bolted an electric forklift motor in its place. That's pretty sick. This car eventually became the Rimac EM3, aka the Green Monster. And in 2012, it put Rimac on the technological map when it achieved 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 3.3 seconds, 0 to 60. That's pretty damn quick, and it made it the world's fastest accelerating electric vehicle. But despite the old Beamer's success on the track, Monte was frustrated by the number of changes it took to fully transform the car. So he decided that it would be simpler to just design his own all-electric supercars from then on. This led to the Concept 1, which looks kind of like a Porsche from a cooler dimension. Hidden beneath the sleek exterior are 4 liquid-cooled Perma-Mag electric motors, one at each wheel, adding up to over 1,200 horsepower. Top Gear's Jeremy Clarkson said the Concept 1 was, quote, faster than anything else he's ever driven by a big margin, and it was also too much car for his co-host Richard Hammond, who crashed one of the 8 Concept 1s in existence down the side of a mountain while filming. I mean, they still make fun of him for that. That would have been scary. That's crazy. Poor Richard. After the extremely limited release of the Concept 1, Rimac debuted the Nevera, which sports a 1,914 horsepower electric engine. My goodness. A top speed of 258 miles per hour and a 0 to 60 less than 2 seconds. Good God. The Nevera was initially announced at the 2018 Geneva Motor Show, but it took until this year for production to finally start. When it actually hits roads, the Nevera is expected to break the Chiron's record as the fastest production car ever made. So you can start to understand why this company fits alongside Bugatti. Today, the number of Rimacs in customer garages can still be counted on 1 or 2 hands. However, the company has grown to 850 employees and is about to open a huge new headquarters in Croatia. And that's because Rimac has become one of the fastest growing vehicle component companies in the industry thanks to its highly respected EV technology. So much so that in 2018, Porsche acquired 10% ownership of Rimac in order to form a development partnership, which leads us back to the Bugatti deal. In June of 2021, Volkswagen announced they would completely halt sales of combustion engine-powered vehicles in Europe by 2035. Bugatti, meanwhile, is still selling the Chiron Pure Sport, which gets 8 miles per gallon. So, pretty clearly, without Ferdinand Piëch around, the two companies aren't really a great fit anymore. But even though he's out of the picture, VW leadership still hasn't been able to cut bait on Bugatti because the surviving Piëch members still own 50% of the company, meaning that if they try to dump Ferdinand Piëch's record-breaking pet project, his family can tank the deal. This is where the pieces of the Bugatti Rimac deal come together, like a very expensive and gas-guzzling jigsaw puzzle. Volkswagen decided to essentially get rid of their problem child Bugatti by letting Mate Rimac take control of it, in exchange for a larger stake in its high-performance electric technology. And to make it acceptable to the surviving PX, the deal is designed to specifically benefit their family's ancestral company, Porsche. Deals like this are obviously complex, but this one kind of shakes out as a win-win-win. Porsche now owns a big chunk of the Nevera and all future Rimac supercars, and that means VW and Porsche can both incorporate Rimac's tech as they transition away from gas engines. Rimac gets the famed Bugatti badge, plus access to Porsche's vastly more experienced engineering team, and all of them stand to make a lot more money if VW becomes a market leader in electric vehicles and/or Rimac becomes a household name, which I think they will. There's a huge opportunity here because American EVs, aside from the Tesla, are still way behind the technological curve. And even Tesla is still a mostly luxury brand. Someone is eventually going to make a super affordable, reliable, long-range EV for the masses, and now Volkswagen is in prime position to be the ones who do. Very smart. But the biggest winner in all of this might be 33-year-old Mate Rimac, who will become CEO of Bugatti Rimac. His company, the Rimac Group, will own 55% of Bugatti Rimac, as well as 100% of a new, separate business called Rimac Technology, which will continue to develop high-performance EV powertrains for other car makers. It is reportedly already working with at least 10 major manufacturers, including Ferrari, Mercedes, and Aston Martin. Mate has also hinted at taking the Rimac Group public in 2022, which could make him personally around $2 billion as the company's largest shareholder. So if you're trying to predict who the next Elon Musk is, this guy has to be in pole position. He already announced the Bugatti Rimac merger dressed in shorts and running shoes, which seems somewhat musky to me. I'm guessing he starts a space company in like 2 years, 3 years tops. Definitely some sort of exploratory group. If you're wondering what all this financial dealing means in terms of actual cars, you're a patient person, and I will tell you. Bugatti and Rimac will continue to develop and badge cars separately. Rimac branded cars will be built in Croatia, while Bugattis will still be assembled in Molsheim. But both brands will use the powertrains developed and manufactured by Rimac Technology in Croatia. Unfortunately for fans of Bugatti's current speed machines, the days of the 16-cylinder engine are numbered. But a 2,000 horsepower hybrid hypercar and a full EV Bugatti are both due for release by 2030. Mate Rimac says he's also considering future Bugattis with more than 2 doors and potentially even some more affordable, less powerful cars built at higher production volumes. But in Bugatti terms, that means like still hundreds of thousands of dollars. If any of that actually comes to pass, it would be a pretty huge change for a brand that has spent over 100 years selling some of the fastest and most expensive cars ever built. But in the words of Mate Rimac, quote, "Bugatti's 4th chapter starts now, and with Porsche at our backs, I believe we can do incredible things." You see why I did that chapter thing earlier? The craziest thing about this deal isn't even where it leaves these companies. I'm definitely excited to see what Bugatti Rimac eventually cranks out, but even more than that, this merger foreshadows the future of the entire automotive industry. Rimac's rise to prominence demonstrates how electric vehicles are beginning to take over the luxury and sports car market. The company is now valued at multiple billions of dollars, despite having produced an insanely small number of cars. Like, I think I personally have built more cars than Rimac has. Not saying they're any better. But what they have done is pretty singular when it comes to electric vehicles. So clearly, Volkswagen is betting that having the most advanced technology in the coming decades will be much more valuable than having the most famous badges. This deal also may be the death knell for the combustion engine supercar. And it's not even really about what's best for the environment, though that's obviously a plus. It's simply about speed. Someday soon, when the Nevera finally rolls off the production line, the fastest car in the world will be powered by electricity. And now, it will be made by Bugatti Rimac.
Breathe in and out. Good. Mindfulness and controlled breathing are great practices for managing stress, but you know what else is?
Going off-road.
Find yourself and share in the chillness with this new shirt.
Find yourself.
Flowers, butterfly, toadstool, frog, all around you, all around Mother Earth, and only $29.98.
So much cheaper than $30.
Available now at donutmedia.com. Go find yourself the chillest shirt we've ever made. Namaste, my dudes.
Namaste, James.
What? Who said that?
Thank you for watching Wheelhouse. Thank you, Nick, behind the camera. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Harlan. If you want to know more about electric vehicles, we did a great video on whether or not they're actually better for the environment. The answer may surprise you. Put that over here somewhere. That's one of my favorite episodes. Check that out for sure. If you're a donut super freak and you want more donut content, hit that join button down below. Learn how you can join the Donut Underground. You get behind the scenes videos, director's cuts of high-low episodes, access to a Discord channel where a bunch of cool donut fans are hanging out, and stickers. Be kind. I'll see you next time.